Today in the crypto space, we see the market slowly grinding to the downside. Bitcoin at around 29,000 and Ethereum still hovering around that $1,800 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are looking a little bit slumpy to the downside. Litecoin taking a bigger dip and XLM. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has retraced. And you know what? Not many people are talking about it, so we need to pay attention. And that project is called Hedera hashgraph, HBAR. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. And let's get right into it. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. But better yet, join that Discord group. Guys, it's a great community, great bunch of guys basically spreading a good amount of alpha throughout the day. Good setups, good projects, good research overall. Go check that out. All right, guys. What do we have here in this market? We're going to take a look at the general market first. We're going to look at the Bitcoin chart just to give us an edge to see where the bigger market participant, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, where are these heavyweights going in the immediate short term? And then we'll take a look at, of course, the project for today, which is HBAR, Hedera hashgraph. Let's begin our analysis. Let's continue here. Let's go see what's happening. The general market currently, as you can see, is dipping down. You know, the consensus is that we're getting a bit of a retracement and we're slumping to the lower levels, guys. And given the fact that, you know, we're about midweek here, Thursday, maybe, you know, Friday, leading into the weekend, guys, we're going to see a lot of this manipulation kind of follow through. I think that the order books being very thin during the weekend might bring more and more volatility here to this crypto space. So be careful in the next couple of days with your entries. You know, sometimes not taking a trade is probably the best trade to be had. Just don't do anything. Just wait and see what happens, where we get support, and then we'll start accumulating again once we get those levels of horizontals. Right now, I don't know, guys. It doesn't look too good. Short term, we're seeing lower lows, you know, lower highs in the short term. As you can see, a bit of a trend to the downside, a bit of a break to the downside. There are some projects that are looking good, like even Uniswap, given that it's been showing so much strength in the last little while, is not looking that great. You know, we did break trend, we're breaking structure. We covered Uniswap yesterday, and we did highlight the potential for this retracement, guys. Go check that live stream out yesterday. It is there, posted as a recorded video, so go check it out. But you can see that Uniswap currently is dipping down and looking a bit weak. Maybe a confirmation high, a lower high is very due. So pay attention to that one. But you can see that the rest of the market is pretty much grinding to the downside, slow and steady, either creating a lower low or double bottoming, looking for that break to the downside for a further continuation down. Guys, even Quant is coming down. We talked about Quant in the last little while, that an expectation of a little bit of a dip is due, 2.2% in 24 hours. Guys, it's not huge, but nonetheless, it's still within range, right? We're still testing that $100 level. Aptos coming down, many projects. We have Optimism showing a tad bit of strength here. It could be a confirmation high. It could be looking for a breakout, no doubt. But this is what we've been talking about here, guys. When you see some strong moves to the upside, like right now, we see XDC still kind of up for sure, 11% in the last 24 hours, but we have been getting a bit of a retracement in the last little while. You can see that pullback here that is developing. When a project goes against the general consensus of the market, expect those pullbacks to potentially be very strong, right? So this is the thing that could happen here. XDD could be pulling back and going sideways for the next little while. And if it does go sideways, yes, while the market does dip, it is also a sign of strength, but expect retracements, expect pullbacks, expect profit taking for some of those individuals that did buy at low levels, right? That would be the smartest thing to do here, is to consider taking profits. Even with Caspa right now, we're getting a bigger pullback, a little, in considering the previous pullbacks being so small. The one that we're seeing right now is a little bit juicier, and that's the thing here, guys. Could this be the beginning of a distribution on Caspa? I know I've been saying take profits on Caspa, but we hit the 1.618 extension level. We've, surpassed previous highs, and we are in price discovery. And when an asset gets into price discovery, that is time, very risky time. And of course, when you enter those risky moments, you have to de-risk, you have to protect yourself, trail up those stop losses, but more importantly, take those profits. And this is what I see happening potentially here for Caspa in the immediate short term, as many individuals, once again, getting in at the bottom of the range, are looking to cash out and walk away with those gains. So guys, be one of those individuals, be happy with short-term spot positions, taking profits, and it's okay to keep some of that position for a long-term hold for the bull run. But at the end of the day, if you're a trader, you're buying low and selling high. The question is this the high? Guys, it looks pretty high to me. Okay, let's continue here. Retracing on IMX, a few retracements here and there. Flex coin showing more strength, 35% to the upside. Yesterday, we saw Flex gearing up for a continuation up, guys, and it happened. Flex looking pretty good, 35%, guys, 58% in 7 days. Again, once again, this is time to get defensive. I'm not saying exit your entire positions, but definitely scrape a bit off the top and trail up the stop loss. You know how that works. It works great, great stuff. What else? Generally speaking, after those 3 projects, there's nothing really happening. Okay, CFX looking okay, but real big picture, nothing drastic. You can see it's only 6% in 7 days. Okay, nothing to frown on, but you can see that generally, the market is either double bottoming, and in fact, in my bias right now, it is dipping to those lower levels. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin. Let's go see what Bitcoin is up to. Nothing really happening here for Bitcoin. We've broke down from a sideways consolidation. We broke down, and now we're hitting some more levels of support. Remember those horizontals? These horizontals have been in here for the last little while. This one right at about 28,800 is holding up perfectly a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and at the end of the day, we are trying to hold support above this level while we're still going sideways once again. Now, what I would like to pay attention to is the RSI. Currently, the RSI is contracting, which means that the momentum is getting smaller and smaller, and eventually this thing should boil up and see the daily make a move. The question is, how long are we going to stay in this chop zone? The 50% of the RSI means that we're going to go choppy, and the likelihood is that we're going to have to look to lower levels for some volatility, like on the 4-hour, right? So let's get into this in a little bit more detail, and then we'll jump into the HBAR chart. All right, right now we can see that the 4-hour definitely left oversold conditions, and this was the opportunity to potentially get into a bullish divergence to the upside. We did get a bit of relief. We're currently getting a back test, and as long as we do not create a lower low, guys, this is not a bad entry for a short-term scalp or move to the upside where you can take quick profits, again, at about $30,000, give or take, right? We want to see this RSI fully reset to overbought conditions on the 4-hour before we consider taking a bit of profits. But right now, as this is pulling back, the price action is, kind of coming down. The RSI is moving up, and we finally got relief, and we're pulling back with the price action, and the RSI is still getting that follow through. So within this follow through move, you could definitely make some good gains, guys. So pay attention here. Not a bad time for a risk to reward ratio move, putting a stop loss below previous lows, getting your entry nice and tight as close as possible as you can to that invalidation, and then waiting for that pop to the upside to about 30K. If it breaks down, guys, you have that stop loss real tight, just in case we can come down and continue to those lower levels. We didn't really enter oversold conditions with much strength here on the 4-hour. The daily's in the chop zone. On the 4-hour, we didn't get into those extremes yet. You can see here on the RSI, we barely peaked in here, peaked in here, peaked in here, peaked in here, a few little dips. We've mostly got overbought with some strength, no oversold conditions with a lot of strength. So this is the thing here, guys. You got to have those convictions. Are we coming down for another dip to get into really oversold conditions like we've done in the past right here? And if it is, expect that dip and a further capitulation to the downside. You can see that we do have a volume gap on the 4-hour time frame. I don't fill in the volume gaps. I don't highlight them too deep here on the 4-hour. I try to keep my volume gaps clear on the daily, but you can see that on the 4-hour, there is a weak zone right here. Price action straight down, peaked above it, a little bit of supply and demand, and they came down and respected it. Now, if we do fall below the $28,800 mark where we are currently settling, we could come straight down to this green arrow and get a good buy order opportunity at about $27,260. This is where I am interested to buy the dip a lot heavier. If I'm interested in altcoins, this is where I am getting into my alts, looking for a full reset of oversold conditions on the daily time frame, while still trying to make some trades on the 4-hour. All right, guys, here on the channel, I've been focusing quite a bit on altcoins. Altcoins right now being in a good accumulation phase. Given the fact that Bitcoin did a great rally up from its bottom, I'm waiting for altcoins to catch up to Bitcoin. So this is why I'm getting a little bit of exposure here on altcoins, low caps, mid caps, all those good FOMO opportunities, guys. I'm trying to get in nice and early. Okay, so let's take a look at HBAR for a second, because HBAR definitely has gone quiet. It had its time with regards to hype. A lot of good talk about HBAR, and now I feel like it's a good time to consider buying the dip. Now, we did identify this volume gap as good accumulation opportunities, number one and number two. But what we do wait for is the daily time frame to get oversold. Did we get oversold on the daily time frame? Just a bit right here, of course, and we came down slightly further. So if anything, this was your time to get in. This one right here, fine, could have been very justifiable. However, we didn't get into extreme zones of the RSI, oversold conditions, but at least we touched it. Fine. And if you got in based on that touch, no problem. Now, as we came down, we got into further, indentation or further dip into the oversold conditions. And this is where you should start looking for bullish divergence. Now, on the lower time frames, on the 4-hour, you're going to see a bit of divergence on here. We already isolated that. So that could have been your indicator. You know what? It's worth it to start scaling in further and a DCAing to lower levels, bringing my average cost down, right? And in that case, this is what happened. We kind of got that nice rally to the upside. We got that reaction, and we are currently contending with this level of resistance, which is confluent with the previous level of potential support, right? So now if we confirm this as resistance, guys, we're coming down. Be prepared. We're coming down. Might be able to double bottom and reaccumulate it at those lower levels. But the only thing is that we came from oversold conditions, and now I believe, based on probability, is that we're trying to look for a full reset to overbought conditions, which means the RSI getting above the 70% mark. Now, if that is the case here on the 4-hour, the good news is I believe that the biggest wave is yet to come. Usually, when we look at backtest this, you'll see that every time we lift off after a consolidation in the chop zone, which is at the 50% mark, which we've been kind of consolidating here for the last little while. And in fact, now we're back testing this zone for support. It looks like we could be ready for another big impulse that finally gets us above that 200 daily EMA. Now, if that happens, expect it to be a bigger impulse. But at the end of the day, what you should also be expecting is a great profit taking opportunity. You should be looking for profit taking at that point once we do get into overbought conditions here on the daily. The daily time frame, is a great place to consider a good swing trade to be over, especially when we get into extreme conditions. And then what we can do is get back into the 4-hour to kind of see where we're getting signs of a reversal once the daily gets overbought. Okay, so right now we got a little bit of a leg, in my opinion. I think that we can at least get back to about 5.5 cents, 5.8 cents, and even a little bit higher. Imagine getting up to about 0.077. What I want to really be clear about is I want to see the RSI at least peak into this bought condition first before we start considering that this move to the upside is over. Let's look at the 4-hour quick, see what's happening here. We're in the chop zone going sideways here. And this is what I mean. When you see the oscillators in the chop zone, you got to anticipate that it's eventually going to boil over and get another leg potentially to the upside, in this case, as a continuation. We got 1 retracement, 2 retracement, maybe 3. Could this be that 5th wave structure, 5-way structure to the upside? Or is this a corrective move where we get an ABC and then capitulate one more time for a fat dip? This is the time to consider taking a bit of risk and putting your stop loss nice and tight underneath previous lows. So you can see it's a bit of a 50-50 shot right here on the 4-hour as well, because it could come down and backtest, get a further confirmation. Maybe this confirmation low wasn't the confirmation low, and in fact we do come down, backtest a little bit more, and confirm this as the low with a further retracement. If you follow what I mean, I'm going to put some horizontals in here right now. We could break down from this and kind of come down and still maybe double bottom from this low, or get down into a little bit of a lower low, still create a higher low in comparison to this, right? Which is still great, a nice confirmation low on the daily time frame, and then finally pick up some more bullish bids at this level, and then finally get to the upside and start cracking through the resistance where we kind of, got quickly sold off from. Okay, so that's something to consider. However, guys, in addition to this, we could be in a scenario where we have to respect this trend, and we might come like this and just finally break out and get back to range highs and then continue to the upside. Okay, so this is where the magic happens, guys. This is where you really have to make some critical decisions with regards to risk to reward ratios. Now, right now, from a risk to reward ratio, let me get this out of the way for a second, just to keep you in tune with what I'm looking at. Let's look at the potential of scaling in right here, putting your stop loss right underneath previous lows, right around the zone, and then taking profits, right around here. That would be absolutely fine, right? Now, if you look at the risk to reward ratio, it is not healthy whatsoever. This is what I'm trying to say, is a healthier dip wouldn't be bad. And that way you can improve your entry and get closer to invalidation, which was this previous low. Okay, so if we can come down to the point of control, we can get a closer support on the 4-hour EMA, on the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. That would improve our risk to reward ratio, getting it to about 3-to-1, 4-to-1. Okay, so right now it's a little bit high. Of course, you're looking for a potential breakout out of this, little range that we got here, a couple of tops, 3 tops. If we break out, we're impulsing up. So be prepared for that. It could happen, guys, but the risk to reward ratio is not healthy as a breakout at the current moment. Now, if we think about it, if we do retrace, okay, a lot of more options, a lot of more opportunities come about. Like, let's say we double bottom when the fully reset scenario happens here. Let's say we come down to range lows and we get some support here, bullish divergence. We look at this zone and we start to get signs of, we're respecting this horizontal. I really like this double bottom scenario personally. If it does come down here, I would like to see the RSIs fully reset to oversold conditions. And then what we're going to do is start to get a great entry as best as we can to invalidation. In this case, invalidation would be somewhere down here, and of course getting into an invalidation down there would require that we get our entry nice and low and still improve our risk to reward ratio. However, look at the potential gains now. Risk to reward ratio is one thing, but then the gains that you can get out of this risk is another. 28% range to range highs. You could take a bit of profit right here, protect yourself. Take a bit of profit right here, protect yourself. And here, what you're really trying to do is DCA into this position. So eventually you have an overall, average position right around this zone for a potential rally up. But again, we're waiting for full resets of momentum to the downside. And I feel like my bias is to the upside eventually here on the daily time frame. But we can snipe a good entry on the 4-hour so that we can capitalize on the full move as best as we can without taking too much risk. A bit of a dip, accumulate for that nice impulse. Right now, based on the daily, based on that continuation, this thing could get another leg up any moment and not even retrace to these levels. So pay attention here, guys. If you're going to do that, make sure that you mitigate your risk by putting that tight stop loss at previous lows. And you get what I mean here, guys. Try to get the best entry to invalidation as possible. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. If I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a huge favor by slapping that like button. Of course, guys, I am live at 7:30 Eastern each and every evening talking about crypto news and price action. Feel free to follow me on those socials. The links are in the description below. The Discord group is great. Go check it out. Good fundamentals, good trade setups throughout the day. Great community, great place. Go check it out. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.